How do I know God's will for my life? Maybe there are two doors in front of you right now, two job offers, two cities, and you are stuck. You are stuck because somewhere along the way you started believing this. Listen carefully. That God has one secret plan for you, and if you pick the wrong door, that's end, and you never get it back. I want to give you a straight answer today, right from the Bible. And it is not the answer you have been handed, because there is one word in Greek sitting right in the middle of the most famous verse about God's will, and it will explain everything for you. Shall we continue? Here is what we will cover together: the lie that's got you frozen and why it is not from God, what the Bible actually says God's will is. It is simpler and bigger than you think. The one Greek word that changes the whole question. Let's talk about the fear for a second. We have all felt it. You feel like God's will is a very thin line and you are just one wrong step away from falling off. So every choice feels massive. Which job? Should I date this person? Should I move? And deep down, you are asking, what if I will make mistake? You are stuck, too afraid to make any move at all. Let me say this as simple as I can, okay? That fear is not coming from your father. Think about what that fear is really saying about God. It is saying his plan for your life is so weak that you on ordinary Tuesday can break it. That is not the God of the Bible. The real God gives you his hand. By the way, the enemy loves this fear because a Christian frozen with what if I get it wrong is a Christian who never actually moves forward. So if God's will isn't a thin line, you might fall off what it is. Let's open the Bible. Romans chapter 12, verse 1 and 2. I urge you, brothers and sisters, in a view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is. His good, pleasing, and perfect will. Now watch the order. This is everything. Most of us come to this verse and we jump straight to the end. What God's will is. Yes, that is what I want. Just tell me what to do, God. Paul doesn't start there. He starts way before the decision. First, give yourself to God. Offer your bodies, all of you, on the table. Second, he says, stop letting the world press you into it is sharp. Third, be changed on the inside, your mind made new, and only then you will be able to taste and know what God's will is. Do you see it? The Bible's answer to how do I know God's will is not a technique for reading signs, and it's not a formula for picking door number 1 or door number 2. It is kind of person you become. You have been asking, God, what do you want me to do? And God's been saying, let me have who you are first. Here's the relief in that. God is way more interested in you than in your decision. He cares more about the person walking on the road than about the road or on which road. Because here is the truth. A surrounded heart with a renewed mind is going to make good decisions. The Bible never tells you which job to take. It never names the person to marry. So what does God do instead of handing you a map for every choice? He changes the one holding the map. Let me pause for 1 second here. Do me a small favor. Tap the subscribe button so we grow together. All right? Because right there in the word I promised in the beginning of this video, now we are going to see it together, look it again at verse 2. Your English Bible says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Transformed. We read this over that word. We say it sounds like churchly language sound. It sounds soft. But the word Paul actually wrote is one of the most powerful words in the New Testament when you interpret it directly from the Greek. The Greek word is metamorphoō. Metamorphoō. Let me give you that so easy way that you will say it. Metamorphoō. Say it with me. Metamorphoō. Okay? Pull out the middle of it. It becomes metamorphosis. It is the exact word we use for what happens to a caterpillar. The caterpillar doesn't get a map. It doesn't get a list of instructions for how to be a butterfly. It gets changed from the inside out. That is the word God chooses for what He wants to do in your life. Not a touch up, not a behave a little better, not new rules, a whole new nature growing on the inside until it shows up outside where everyone can see it. So here is what that does to your question. You come in asking, how do I find God's will? God says, metamorphoō, metamorphosis. A caterpillar can't see like a butterfly. A frozen heart can't read God's will. But a changed one can. You don't go hunting the map. You let God change the travel until the road starts making sense under your feet when you are moving forward toward to Christ. Then you will be able to taste and approve what God's will is. Then, after the change, not before, the knowing comes out of the becoming. Let me tell you the truth about my own life. There was a season I begged God for sign. I wanted Him to write the answer on the wall as He did for Daniel. Which way, Lord? Just tell me which way. And heaven felt quiet and I felt frozen and honestly a little bit nervous. Looking back now, I can see what He was doing. He wasn't withholding a map from me. He was busy with me. What I mean with that, pulling my hands off things I was gripping. And this is what practicing divine has always been about. Not religion, not rules, not a secret code you have to crack to keep God happy, a living relationship with a living God. And knowing God's will was never about getting information out of Him. It is about getting close to Him. The closer you walk with a person, the easier it is to know what that person wants. You don't need a manual for someone you actually know. The truth was never a map. The truth is a person. As I used to say, His name is Jesus and He will come back again. I want to send you home with one more verse. Write it down. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. Look what it does not say. It does not say figure out the whole path before you take step. It is not saying lean on your own understanding until you have got it all. It says thirst to Him, lean on Him, not on your own head. Walk with Him in everything, and He, not you, makes the path straight. Your job isn't to see the whole road. Your job is to hold the right hand in the darkest moment. So let me make this simple. What do you actually do tomorrow or after you have watched this video? Give everything to God. He knows. As we approach to the end of this video, let me talk straight to the one person who needed this today. You have been frozen, afraid of blowing it up. You felt behind. You have made mistakes. You can't pull that down. God is not standing on the far side of a thin line. He is right beside you, ready to change you and walk you home. And maybe the real thing is this: you have never actually known Him. Now is the time to discover Him. You have had religion, rules, a God you try to keep happy from a distance. You can't touch to Jesus right where you sit now. No perfect words, no cleaned up life first. You just turn toward Him, honest and tired, and let Him be your Lord. That is the first step of every path that ever turns out straight. He's not asking you to figure out everything at the beginning. He's asking for you. Thank you for your time. Subscribe and share. God bless you. See you next time.